Okay, today I want to cover some of the flexibility and capabilities that are in Itrium for supporting reseller websites, whereby multiple sites are hosted in a single Itrium instance with content shared between sites for certain vendor products. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to take you through the access to SitePilot, setup and creation of a new website for a reseller, and then show how content is shared between sites, at least one solution that might work, and then some of the other tools and flexibility and capabilities that are in the product. So to get started, I'm going to log into SitePilot, and it's here where I have access to all of my subsites. So I've been testing and creating various sites. So I've created the first 6 reseller sites that I have on my list. And so I'm going to go and grab the next site that I have off my list in a second here, and I'm going to get ready to create a new site. So first thing I want to do is I need to check and see what an available ID is, and I know that this is going to be my theme ID. So in Itrium, each site can have its own theme, and that theme can be based on a standard theme or any number of standard themes, and then it can be completely customized to give you the look and feel that you want. So in a solution like this, we might have 3 or 5 standard themes that we base all the sites on, which would expedite the development process and simplify the maintenance downstream. So I have an ID for my site, and this is something that Itrium will do as we set up sites. And so I'm going to set up a new theme ID. Now I'm going to go get my next theme in the list, so you can see I'm on Countryside Play Structures. And I'm going to pop over here, and we're going to create the Creative Play Kids site. So I'm just going to copy Creative Play Kids because I've got a naming standard here I'm going to use. And I'm going to set up a content root, a domain name and mapping. I'm going to pick a theme that I want to extend. So you can see some of the themes I've created, like coastal recreation. I could extend that here, but I'm going to extend just one of my standard responsive themes. And then I'm going to specify the palette and the company. So these are all just metadata fields that are required or we'll want to have later as we move forward. And then I'm going to set up an editor level user ID. So this is going to be somebody who can edit this site. And I'm going to give it a password. And we'll just say editor123. And the first name will be editor, and the last name will be something to indicate that it's for this site. So I'll just use the same key. And then finally, we're going to have an access group. All right. So these are the parts that we're going to need. So we have the definition for creating our site. We have our first user's definition for somebody who can edit this site. And then we've got an access group that gives them permissions to get into and edit this site. So now I'm just going to create the site. So what the system's doing right now is it's going out and pulling a template off the shelf that we built and customized that has some structures in it. Now we'll modify this as we go forward. But what you're going to see is we're going to have a new subsite here called Creative Play Kids. And inside it, it has several things. It has the navigation items we've talked about. It's got a website administration section that I set up. It's got sign in and sign out features or anything else we want to put into it. So that's completely flexible. We're not going to cover how that's set up today, but just know that we can change and adjust that as needed. So now that I have this site, I have a real site running on my local system, and I can come over here and I can actually browse to that site. So I'm going to open up this site, and we'll see that I'm on the Creative Play Kids site. Now what I did is I pre-populated pages with just some placeholder content. Now this will change, of course, as we start working with design agencies and our partners to flesh out the design, but you'll get the general idea. So as you move through things like products, we've got samples of layouts. You'll see that the playground page is empty. I'm going to come back to that in a second because this is where the LSI products would go or something like that. And then I have other layouts and sample content, so you can sort of see the types of things you can do with an Itrium product. All right. We even have things like a contact page and a gallery set up so that we could do different things. Okay, so now we have a site, and what we want to do is we want to edit the site, right? So what you do as a user, you would sign in, and you're going to be using a freeform application to sign into the site, and I'm going to use the email address that I set up and enter my password. So editor123. I'll sign in. And when I sign in, you're going to see a couple of new things. So sign in, turn to sign out, and then website administration appears. So these are permission-based. They're in my site, but the visitors cannot see them. So I can go into website administration, and it's here that I can actually access SitePilot. So this is the default tool that users will use when they're editing the site. Now, SitePilot here that we're working in is sort of scary, actually, because there's so many sites here and other tools and things. And really what the editors of subsites are going to need are just access to the content of their site. So when you open the tool through the subsite, you only get access to the things you can edit. So you have access to your home page, and then the content on your home page, and then the various pages inside. Now what's interesting here, if we compare this site to this site, they're both the same, okay, as far as Creative Play Kids and Creative Play Kids. It's the same content. But based on permissions and what I have access to, I can't edit this, and there's certain things even in products that I can't edit, like the playgrounds section, which will have the LSI content. So when I'm looking at SitePilot here, I'm going to have my products, and here's my product 2, product line 3, 4, and 5, but no playgrounds. My webmaster or website administration section is gone. My sign in and sign out sections are gone. So we can control what this person can see and what they can edit through Pilot. So they can come in now and they can edit content. And we'll provide training for those sorts of things. But they cannot edit the content we do not want them to edit. All right, so we've got that covered for now. So I'm going to return to the site, and I'm going to return to my playground section, which is currently empty. So let's talk about content sharing. So what's going to happen in the site, and again, we will figure out how we want to configure this finally when we work through it. But this is one way you could deploy content, and it actually works quite well. So in my new site that I created, by default in the template, we have a playground page that is relatively empty. And I'm going to edit this page, and I'm going to actually just change the label on it so that I can mark it, because we want to keep this well organized so that we know where everything's going in the site. So this is going to be Creative Play Kids, and then I'm going to copy this to my clipboard. All right, so I have a playground section for Creative Play Kids in my clipboard. Now, what I've done here is I've set up another section that basically just gives me quick access to the various reseller subsites so I don't have to drill through all this content. And I'm going to go in here now, and I'm going to create, this is a one-time thing per site, a new category, and I'm going to label it called Creative Play Kids. I'm going to save this. All right, and then I'm going to take my playground section and share it here. Okay, so now I've got it shared here. I have access to the playground page that's on the site. So this page, its ID is 1A96, and the page that's in the site is 1A96. They're both the same page. And so I can put content in there. Well, what I have in my system right now is I have a version of LSI playground content. And so I'm going to take this content, and now I'm going to copy this to my clipboard, and I'll go ahead and clear this other page out just so I have one thing here. And then I'm going to go down to my Creative Play Kids section, and I'm going to first open it up just to show you what's in there. So this is from the default template. And what I really want to do is I'm going to share in this grid, and I'm going to cut out this grid. Okay, so that was the default content. I still want to leave the SEO information in case my reseller wants to do some additional optimization for search. And so now I have shared content in here. And you can see if you look across any of these reseller sites right now, I have the same content item shared into each of them. So now I can return to my site, and when I refresh my page, I'll have playground information. Now my URL changed a bit, so I'm going to pop over here, and I can see this is the content that's shared. Now what's great about this is that the reseller can't edit this content, but somebody at LSI can. So from an LSI perspective, if we want to make just a quick update to the content, I could come in here, I can edit the content, I can reorder parts, move things around as needed, and these are all standard things we train our clients on. So I'm going to save this. So I've made a live change to version 1 of my content. Now I could have created a whole new version and just shared it in here and replaced this all together. But this is all we're going to do for today. And when I return to this site, when I refresh the page, my pictures are going to flip-flop. And what's really great about that, this change is the same on all my other sites. So if I go back to, let's say we take one of these other resellers like Athco LLC. I have that same site here, and I can go Athco LLC E10. And when I go here and go to Playgrounds, I'm going to get the same view here that I have here. All right, because that content is shared across multiple sites. So that's it for the basic setup of the site, sharing content. The look and feel is just a standard boilerplate template that we use for this kind of stuff. What you'll have in your sites will be widely different across all the reseller sites, and I can explain that further. That's it for today, so thanks for your time.